am I? Who am I? I am the guardian of lost souls. I am the powerful, the pleasurable, the indestructible Mushu.
Round one.
Hi guys! So Season 4 is out now and I've had a chance to play with and against the new heroes. And so let's take a look at Aramusha and how we can squeeze every little bit of damage and optimization out of that character. Okay, so let's first look at playing as Aramusha. As usual, we're going to take a look at the damage stats first because that's the most basic element of a character, I guess. Generally speaking, Aramusha is a low damage hero, but his damage ramps up as you're going on chaining your combos, sort of. Not really, but a little bit. So you're looking at low to average damage light attacks, low to average damage heavy attacks, but when you combo these attacks into a second attack from a different direction, which is the only chain that he has, is infinite chain, then you're going to look at a slight increase in damage with the heavies and the side lights, a decrease in damage with the top light, but it's kind of negligible. Realistically, what you're looking at is the combo finisher heavies are particularly high in damage. Top heavy is 40, which is good damage. Side heavy is 45, which is better damage. But these are slow, easily parried, but they provide threat, and that's what you need. You threaten with these attacks, and people aren't going to try to parry them so much because these are the ones that can be soft feinted into, or rather soft cancelled into an opposite direction light. And the damage values that you're seeing in red for the lights are the soft feinted attack damage values. So the side soft feinted light is doing 20 damage, which is pretty good, and the top one not so much. So realistically, the high damage on these combo finisher heavies is to provide threat, and you can throw them all the way out every so often as long as you're mixing it up with these soft feints, with hard cancels into other attacks too at the same time. And even if they just block it, it's going to provide some chip damage. So if they do get parried, then your opponent's being very confident that that's what you're going to do. So you need to switch it up a bit more. An interesting little tidbit with the attacks for Aramusha currently. It seems that for some reason, it's the only hero whose light attacks can be guard broken. And by this I mean, as you're throwing a light attack as Aramusha, and if your opponent were to guard break you during this animation, the guard break would cancel out the light attack and you wouldn't be able to counter guard break it. It's a bit odd. Supposedly it'll be fixed next patch, we'll see. Conversely, the heavy attacks seem to have a similar property to Centurion. The heavy attacks can't be guard broken through, like you can with most heroes. On most heroes you can guard break the start of their heavy attacks, and you'll be successful a lot of the time. Against Aramusha, as long as you follow through with the heavy attack instead of hard cancelling it, you'll find that you're fine. You won't get guard broken out of it. Okay, so let's talk quickly about optimizing your Parry Punishes. With Season 4, we were expecting some changes to parries. It's not come in yet, so you're still getting big punishes on your parries, depending on what attack it is that you parry. So let's have a look at light parries. Generally speaking, with Aramusha, I say generally speaking, every single time, basically, unless your opponent is out of stamina, what you're going to want to do from a light parry is to throw a side heavy. And this is because another strange thing about Aramusha, that is, in a lot of circumstances, if you land a side heavy, a standard side heavy, then you're going to get a top light for free. A lot of people know this already, but that's the case here as well. So you parry a light attack, do a side heavy into a free comboed top light, and this is going to net you 37 damage. With a heavy parry, what we're going to be looking at for the maximum punish, again, if your opponent still has stamina, not if they're out of stamina, is again a side heavy, but you can only net it if you wallbang your opponent. As of right now, and I'm not sure if this will change in future, Aramusha only gets a light attack from a guard break. So what you're going to want to do is guard break your opponent from the heavy parry, throw them into a wall, and get the side heavy into the confirmed top light. Again, 37 damage. If there's no wall nearby, then you're going to get a light attack. This is not too bad though. You're going to get the light attack for guaranteed 15 damage. You probably want to combo this into a same side heavy. Because this is going to allow you to mix up again. The second attack is going to be the heavy finisher, which is going to allow you to soft feint into a different stance light, or follow through, or hard cancel into something else, you know, mix it up a little bit. So it's not too awful, I guess. Let's talk about the blade counter ability, or I'm not really sure what it's called right now, but basically it's the full block stance that Aramusha has. It's transient, it doesn't last a long period of time, but it's more of a reactionary move. And it does provide some degree of superior block property. Your opponent is stunned out of their combo. Even if they're heavy attacking, they'll bounce back and not be able to continue their combo, but it doesn't guarantee a lot from it. It guarantees two of the options, which is the light stun option, which sort of looks like a bit of a command grab situation, a bit similar to Centurion's guard break light attack sort of deal. This only does 10 damage, it stuns your opponent, but it's guaranteed every time. The other move that is guaranteed is the kick option. This doesn't guarantee any damage off of it though, necessarily. Situationally though, it does. If you kick somebody into a wall, you can dash heavy them for 25 damage. If you kick somebody into a wall that's right next to you, you can side heavy them into a top light like before, which will get you 37 damage. The kick kicks quite far as well, so you can ledge somebody with it. So if you're in a ranked game, or if you're just the type of person that likes to kick people off the edge, then hey, that's great. The other options, they are not so guaranteed. I mean, the heavy top counter, or the top heavy attack, it seems guaranteed on certain attacks, on others not guaranteed. Not sure why this is. Certain attacks, the ones that seem to have a longer recovery period, tend to be able to be punished with this top heavy. It only does 25 damage anyway. It's not a big chunk of damage, and it's not consistent, so the side heavy is better. Not because it's guaranteed, it's not at all guaranteed. It does 40 damage on one, though it's unblockable, and it provides armor, so if your opponent wants to go in with something cheeky straight after you've blocked them with the blade counter, which, I mean, it's unlikely, you'll armor through it and trade, and 40 damage is a good damage attack to trade with them, especially seeing as they'd need a fast attack to try and trade with you. This attack can be soft feinted into a top light, so that provides options. You can also hard cancel it into another attack, or hard cancel it into a guard break. That option's not too bad, but overall, blade counter, or whatever it's called, it's not the best ability in the world, is it? Okay, so out of stamina punishes. Out of stamina punishes are quite simple for Aramusha, sort of. Really, what you're looking for is when you get the guard break on an out of stamina opponent after a parry or whatever, you can throw them in any direction, and you're looking to whiff a side light into a side heavy. Whiffing the side light is just so that you don't trigger the start of their getting up animation, and then your combo finisher side heavy is going to do 45 damage. If your opponent's, or rather if you're on a stairs or any sort of elevation, sometimes you can hit the side light and still get the side heavy. The other time that you can do this is if you throw them into a wall, then you can hit the side light and hit the side heavy. So instead of 45 damage, you'll now be doing 60. Optimally, that's what you're looking to do. When you parry somebody who's already out of stamina, i.e. they were out of stamina before the parry, then what you can get is two side heavies. As they're falling to the floor, you throw in your first side heavy and then into your side heavy finisher. Make sure they're from the same side. Well, make sure they're both side heavies, and you'll get 70 damage total for that. So that's your maximum out of stamina punish. When you're playing Aramusha into somebody who's out of stamina, what you want to be looking to do is, or what I tend to do is trying to use the unblockable portion of the zone attack to try and put some pressure on your opponent. I mean, you can just use your infinite combo to just chip your opponent away as much as possible, remembering that while they're out of stamina, they don't have superior block property against your light attacks, so you can just keep chaining. Opponents are going to look to parry one of these attacks to stop the onslaught though, or just move away as much as possible. So think about what you want to do and push with that. So by now I'm sure you know what Aramusha's standard sort of mixing up combo is, or rather what his standard attack pattern is, and it can be quite tricksy against somebody who doesn't know what they're playing against, but again, Season 4 has only just come out, so people are still unsure. This might change in the future, especially when people learn what the pattern is, but there's still options to mix up after that. The general pattern that you're looking to do is you're wanting to start your chain off, and the best way to do this is by throwing a heavy out of neutral. Right, this can be parried, but they're not necessarily going to be looking for a heavy straight off. The heavy will likely get blocked though, but this allows you to throw your second heavy from the same side, which can be soft feinted into top stance. After you soft feint that top stance light and land it, hopefully, you want to be throwing a heavy top again. This will be a heavy finisher top, so you'll soft cancel this into a side light, and then a side heavy, soft cancel that into a top light, and then a top heavy. That's your standard bread and butter sort of attack pattern. Of course, this gets predictable after a while, so you want to change this into something else. You have options just like everybody else. It's just learning the standard pattern, and then once you've got that down into muscle memory, you can then bring in other things like throwing your heavy and then hard cancelling it into a light from the same side, or throwing your heavy, hard cancelling it into a light from an unsuspecting side. You have a lot of options. It's just all about getting the standard attack pattern combo down, and then thinking about how you can change this up into something else. You got to remember that when you do the standard attack pattern, your opponent's not going to look to parry anything unless they're sure about what's coming out. So you definitely want to throw the full-on heavy finisher, just so your opponent is looking at it and going, oh, that's a free parry, I can do something about that. They go for it, and then you've got the soft feint into a different direction, and that's when they get hit. Conversely, if they're looking for the soft feint in one direction because you're doing it all the time, you want to throw out that full heavy combo finisher, because they're going to look to parry that top light, and you're going to get 45 damage from the side heavy finisher or top heavy finisher or whatever it is that you're doing. So make sure you're swapping it up all the time. Aramusha's, he's designed to be a master of feinting, similar to Berserker. It just takes a little bit more work to learn the standard combo pattern and then swap up that standard combo pattern into something else that your opponent's not expecting, and really flow with it, and try to make it as smooth and as overwhelming as possible for your opponent. That's where Aramusha really shines. You want to overwhelm your opponent with just sheer volume of attacks, and just making sure that they're coming from different directions, from directions that your opponent's really not expecting, at speeds that your opponent's really not expecting, to really just make sure that you're getting that damage down your opponent. And even if you're not getting the damage down, even if they're not going through, you're still hitting chip damage. You still have momentum on your opponent, meaning your opponent can't push you. And if your opponent can't push you, they can't do damage to you unless they parry something. So that's really how you're playing. That's the play style of Aramusha. Right, so let's talk a bit about how to play against Aramusha. I have limited experience against Aramusha so far. Season 4 only just came out, but I'm starting to see patterns in my own play and the play of Aramushas that I play against. So let's go over that really quickly. I guess first and foremost is, if you're playing against Aramusha, and you're going to play against one at some point, so you need to learn it. And that is what the standard attack pattern of an Aramusha is. If they're throwing a side attack, and it looks like they're going into another side attack, they have the option to soft feint top. You need to learn this. If they do the same thing top, they have the option to soft feint into one of the sides. And you need to learn the speed that this is going to come in at, and you need to learn what sort of pattern your opponent plays at, because every player has a pattern, and the better the player, the more patterns they have that they can swap up between. Another thing that a lot of Aramushas do, and I do this too, and it's because it's one of the best options Aramusha has into somebody who's out of stamina, and that is, when you're out of stamina, they're going to look to use their zone unblockable to try something. It's a slow unblockable, and so this unblockable attack is going to be thrown at you. It's the right hand side every time, and it's very slow, but there's a lot of frames that you can wait and watch for. In all likelihood, they're going to try and cancel this into a guard break at least half the time. And try to catch you going for the parry on the unblockable, or try to catch you going for the dodge on the unblockable. Just wait, watch the unblockable, wait until it gets past a certain amount of frames where they can't cancel it anymore, and then go for the parry if they don't cancel it, or go for the counter guard break if they do cancel it. Something that I actually forgot for the playing as Aramusha thing, but it's it's something that does actually work, and that is your dash attacks on Aramusha, whether it's a forward side dash attack or forward top dash attack. Either way, you can cancel the dash attack, which is quite unusual for dash attacks. You can cancel it mid-flow, mid-animation, and it looks a bit trippy, especially the top dash attack, because he does a little jump, and then all of a sudden he's stopped his jump, and he's ready to do something else. Most Aramushas will forward dash cancel into a guard break, and it works a lot, but that's just because Aramusha's new and people aren't used to it yet. So just be aware of this. If you're playing against Aramusha, they can cancel this. So maybe not go for the parry against this particular move. We talked earlier about what I think is a bug, and that is with the light attacks of Aramusha being guard breakable. If you're playing against Aramusha, it's fairly easy to abuse, but just remember the opposite, which is that his heavies aren't particularly guard breakable. So throwing out a heavy attack, for example, hard cancelling that into a guard break, it's not going to work, especially against an Aramusha here, in a similar vein to how it doesn't work against Centurion. So do be careful of that as well. Another thing that Aramusha can be fairly susceptible to is in relation to his blade blockade. Is it blade blockade? Is blade block thingy. Anyway, if you notice that your opponent's doing this a lot, it can get quite annoying because he's going to get a counter off of it, and he's going to do a bit of damage to you, especially if it's that command grab over and over or the kick over and over. It's just annoying to get pushed around by somebody when you're attacking them. It's quite easy to get around though. This particular move is really susceptible if you notice your opponent doing a lot. It's really susceptible to feint into lights. So what you want to do is throw a heavy from any direction, feint it, and then light attack from the same direction straight away. And his blade blockade thing will drop before your light goes through, and you'll have free damage on him. He doesn't go back into his standard stance quick enough to block the light attack with most characters. The other way is heavy attack, hard cancel into guard break. Blade blockade, he's not allowed to counter guard break when you guard break him during it. So free guard breaks for you if you can predict your opponent using it. Overall, I'm really liking Aramusha. Definitely not the strongest hero, but not the weakest hero either so far. I mean, I know it's still a new hero. I'd put them around midway through the roster. They're just a hero. They're just a hero. But they're fun to play. I like getting used to the new combo, or rather the new attack combo, I guess. I like the style of the character. I like the flow. God damn it, why couldn't we have a female Ronin? I don't know. And god damn it, why couldn't it be called Ronin? That's cooler than Aramusha. Anyway, I'm going to call it Mushu. And, but I'm really enjoying that character. Definitely more so than... sort of more so than Shaman. I mean, I probably would really enjoy Shaman if she wasn't so damned broken. But we'll get onto that another time. I know she's going to receive a nerf, but how long do we have to wait? Anyway, I hope the guide was helpful to you guys. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments. If I do miss anything, I'll post another update video afterwards, or if I find something new, I'll post an update video afterwards for you guys. And yeah, remember to like, comment, subscribe if you like my content. I'm really up for making a lot of content in the near future, so I hope you guys really enjoy that. And yeah, Mama Darling out. That's fucking cringy as fuck. Jeez. See ya.